Hello everyone, welcome again to our class, and this time let's discuss First Catholic Mass in the Philippines. So, as we all know, we are being colonized by Spain and na-introduce sa atin ang Roman Catholicism or Catholic, no? Ayun. So, it has been unending debate of historians about the events where the first Catholic Mass transpired really in the Philippines. So, there are a lot of historians that claim na dito nangyari yon. It was only Masawa. May iba rin na nagsasabi na it was in Butuan. No? So, different yung claims ng mga historians. Okay, so now, where do you think the first Catholic Mass originally occurred? Leyte or on Butuan. Okay, so the government has consistently concluded that Limasawa Island, Leyte, as the site of the first Easter Sunday Mass, which is held on 1521 in the country. So ito yung pinaniniwalaan or yung kiniklaim ng government natin based from the journals of Antonio Pigafetta, no, as Masawa. Another panel led by prominent historian Rizal D. Mojares was formed in 2018 by now National Historical Commission of the Philippines to further review these claims in favor of Butuan as it is the original place where the first Catholic Mass occurred. Okay, so meron pa ring debates even up until this time. So the first Catholic Mass in the Philippines was during an Easter Sunday on March 31, 1521, officiated by Father Pedro de Valderrama in the shore of a town islet named as Limasawa in the tip of southern Leyte. So Limasawa is dubbed as the birthplace of Roman Catholicism in the Philippines, landing on the Philippine shores when Ferdinand Magellan and his European crew sailed from Sanlúcar de Barrameda for an expedition to search for spices. These folks landed on the Philippines after their voyage from other proximate areas, no? On March 28, 1521, while at the sea, they saw a bonfire which turned out to Limasawa where they anchored. So again, the government claimed that it was on Leyte, Limasawa Island, where the first Eastern Mass in 1521 occurred. So the first documented Catholic Mass in the Philippines was held on March 31, 1521, Easter Sunday. It was conducted by Father Pedro de Valderrama, no, of Ferdinand Magellan's expedition along the shores of what was referred to in as the journals of Antonio Pigafetta as Mazawa. Today, this site is widely believed by many historians and the government to be Limasawa, of the tip of southern Leyte. However, until at least the 19th century, the prevailing belief was the first Mass was held in Butuan. This belief is maintained by some who assert that the first Mass was instead held at Masao, Butuan. So meron din namang another claim, no, on 19th century, no, na yung first Mass daw talagang nasa Butuan. Ito yung kanina, no, yung sinabi ko kanina, no, the end of the conflict for this issue, kung kailan ba talaga, no, through the National Historical Commission of the Philippines panel had adopted the recommendation and unanimously agreed that the evidence and arguments presented by the pro-Butuan advocates are not sufficient and convincing. So hence, mas pinaniniwalaan nila na yung first Catholic Mass in the Philippines was held on Leyte, Limasawa. Okay? So take note of that one. And now let's proceed to 1872 Cavite Mutiny. So kilala niyo naman siguro yung Gomburza, Padre Gomez, Padre Lopez, and Padre Zamora. No, when we say mutiny, it is a forcible or passive resistance to lawful authority. Okay, Cavite Mutiny is the brief uprising of 200 Filipino troops and workers at the Cavite Arsenal, which became the excuse for Spanish repression of the embryonic Philippine nationalist movement. So ito yung naging alsa, no? Pag-aalsa ng mga Filipinos na nasa Cavite, no, because of the harsh treatment ng mga Spanish authorities sa kanila, no. The Cavite Mutiny is the aim of that is for the natives to get rid of the Spanish government in the Philippines para talaga magkaroon na tayo ng sariling pagkakasarinlan. Okay? So also because of this event, no, nagkaroon tayo ng kawalan ng mga privilege, yung mga yung mga benefits natin, no? And may exemption from the tribute and forced labor din. Yun, no? Nawala yun lahat, yung exemption from the tribute and forced labor. Nawala yun lahat because of this Cavite Mutiny. And also, just to really take note, this event, no, that had transpired, the killing of these three priests, ito talaga yung mas nagpasiglap pa ng mga puso natin bilang mga Pilipino talaga na parang mag-alsa na sa mga Spaniards dahil sobra na sila. Okay? Yun yung nag-trigger talaga ng pagkakabuo ng KKK or ng Katipunan. Okay, after a number of Filipino intellectuals were seized and accused of the complicity with the mutineers. So again, biglang nawala ito, na-crush siya bigla during the Spanish regime, dahil na rin sa leadership or sa ginawa ni Governor Rafael D. Izquierdo, who magnified the incident and used it as an excuse to clamp down those Filipinos na talagang nag-organize, we calling them as just to really reform, no, at para hindi na mas lumala yung galit or yung pag-aalsa ng mga Filipinos noon. So after this brief trial, no, na publicly execute yung tatlong paring ito, Jose Burgos, Jacinto Zamora, and Mariano Gomez, they became the martyrs that caused the Philippine independence. So talagang nagkaroon talaga tayo ng ng motivation talaga para talaga gumawa ng ating sariling government, no, to aim for that Philippine independence. So sila yung naging benchmark or yung naging source, no, ng ating pag-uuskal, ay tawag nun, yung sa puso natin talagang lumalagablib ba yan, or no, talagang we are really trying to attain our independence. Okay, let's define mutiny. It's a non-military offense of defiance or attack. It is any overt act of defiance or upon military authority by two or more persons subject to such authority. So this term occasionally used to describe non-military instances of defiance or attack, such as mutiny on board a merchant ship or a rising of slaves in a state in which slavery is recognized by law or custom. So it should be distinguished, this term mutiny, from revolt or rebellion, which involve a more widespread defiance and which generally have a political objective. So it was regarded as the most serious offense, especially aboard ships at sea. Okay? Because the safety of the ship was thought to depend upon the submission of all persons on board to the will of the captain, wide disciplinary powers were given to the commanding officer, including the power to inflict the death penalty without a court-martial. So again, when we say mutiny, it's a non-military offense of defiance or attack. It is just a way, it's a revolution for us to defend ourselves. No? So, hindi siya kagaya ng rebellion or revolt. Okay, ayun. So, may mga difference silang dalawa. Okay, now, dumako tayo sa retraction of Jose Rizal. Retraction, ibig sabihin, the act of drawing something back or back in. Retraction ni Jose Rizal, maraming mga nagsasabi na si Jose Rizal daw, bago siya pinatay, bago siya binaril sa dapitan, talagang may moment daw siya na nagsisisi siya bakit niya pinagtanggol yung Pilipinas at gusto niyang bawiin lahat ng mga sinabi niya. Although this controversy is not yet proven to be exactly true, but still, naging issue din siya even up until this time. Several historians report that Rizal retracted his anti-Catholic ideas through a document which stated, "I retract with all my heart whatever in my words, writings, publications, and conduct have been contrary to my character as a son of the Catholic Church." So, talagang may time daw na nagsisi siya at hindi niya pinagtanggol at hindi niya ginampanan or hindi talaga siya go with his words sa mga novels na mga sinulat niya. After analyzing the 6 major documents of Rizal, Ricardo Pascual concluded that the retraction document said to have been discovered in 1935, but it was not in Rizal's handwriting. Okay. Also, may mga nagsasabi rin na ito raw ay hindi totoo, no? May mga supporters, yung mga yung mga Rizaleños na part siya ng moral courage to recognize his mistakes. It's not weakness or hindi ito katraidoran sa Pilipinas. Yun yung sinasabi ng mga ibang mga tao or ng mga ibang mga historians. No, his reversion to that true faith and thus his unfading glory and a return to the ideals of his fathers which did not diminish his stature as a great patriot. On the contrary, it increased the stature of greatness of Jose Rizal because of his recognition that he is wrong, no? It's part of his moral courage. Ito yung exact document, makikita nyo dito na may conversion siya of this document. I declare myself a Catholic, and in this religion in which I was born and educated, I wish to live and die. I retract with all my heart whatever in my words, writings, publications, and conduct has been contrary to my character as a son of the Catholic Church. I believe in and I confess whatever she teaches, and I submit to whatever she demands. I abominate Masonry as the enemy which is of the Church, as a society prohibited by the Church. So naging issue talaga siya, no? Na talaga bang umaklas or hindi talaga na pipinanindigan ni Jose Rizal ang words niya sa mga novels niya, sa mga journals niya. And there are historians who claimed that this is true. Okay. Alright, now let's proceed to the cry for rebellion or sigaw sa Pugad Lawi. So this is the event that officially marked the start of the Philippine Revolution against the Spain. So the revolt later grew in strength and spread to the 8 provinces that includes Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Pampanga, Tarlac, Laguna, Batangas, and Nueva Ecija, which were eventually represented by the 8th rays of the sun in the present Filipino flag. Okay, so it was again 300 years of the Spanish rule which Andres Bonifacio became the leader of the Katipunan na unang nag-aklas, no? Unang pinaglaban tayo mga Pilipino, no? The Katipunan or the KKK was a secret revolutionary society that sought independence for the Philippines from the Spanish colonial rule. So, na-mention ko kanina na may mga iba't ibang mga reasons bakit umaklas at bakit nakabuo tayo ng ganitong grupo. Isa na rin dito is yung pagkakapatay sa 3 pari, yung Gomburza, Gomez, Jacinto at si Zamora. At saka yung pagkakabaril ni Jose Rizal sa Dapitan. Ito yung mga reasons bakit umaklas at gumawa tayo ng katipunan sila Jose Rizal. Okay. In August 1896, in the city of Pugadlawit in Balintawak, which is now part of Quezon City, the Katipuneros led by Andres Bonifacio rose in revolt by tearing up their cedulas, which became a sign of enslavement of the Filipinos. This event is called the Cry of Pugadlawin, which officially regarded as the start of the Philippine Revolution against Spain with the use of violence and arms. So dito na talaga nag-start, no? Na talagang tayo gusto na nating umalis, gusto na nating hindi naman umalis, gusto na nating magkaroon ng sariling government, no, na mawala na yung mga Spaniards during that time. Okay, may mga events din na nangyari before this. Okay, like several events occurred that strengthened the unity of the Filipino people. Like what I've mentioned, yung pagkakapatay, no, yung martyrdom of the Gomburza and the exilation of Dr. Jose Rizal in the Dapitan. Okay, the Cry of Pugadlawin was an event that officially marked the start of the Philippine Revolution against Spain. The revolt later grew in strength and spread to the 8 provinces. No, ito yung 8th rays of the Philippine flag that includes Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Pampanga, Tarlac, Laguna, Batangas, and Nueva Ecija. Ito yung 8 na mga provinces na unang nag-aklas at sumali, no, at nagsuporta sa katipunan, which were eventually represented by the 8 rays of the sun. So like what I've mentioned, ganon. Okay, so Aguinaldo declared the independence of the country from Spain on June 12, 1898 at Kawit, Cavite. Okay, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, last sa mga lessons natin, no, na it's during this time kasi naging symbolic, no? Naging symbolic siya. Naging ano siya? How can I say it? Memorial siya, no? Ng ating unang desisyon na gusto na nating umaklas against Spanish at dito mas nag-unite pa talaga ang mga Pilipinos as one country. So the question is, where did it really happen? It is in Balintawak ba or in Pugadlawin? So, may mga nagsasabi sa books ni Zaide na the cry happened in Balintawak. But may mga historians na nagsasabi na it was in Pugad Lawin, no, based on Pio Valenzuela's statement. But again, like what I've mentioned, iba-iba yung claims ng mga historians. Okay? But when did it really happen? Does it really happen on Balintawak or in Pugad Lawin? So yun yung pwede nating mas tunan pa ng pansin. The first cry of revolution became the movement of the Filipinos to fight back to the tyrannical rule of the Spanish regime. This called as the first cry or the revolution of independence. Okay, when did it happen? August 19, 1986. This is when KKK is formed or kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. August 23, 1986. This is where the cry of rebellion happened or occurred. Okay? Please take note of these important dates. Okay, and ayun. So we have here the events. I think I have mentioned this kanina, and that is the end of my lesson. I hope you've learned something. Please read more into this, delve more into articles, journals, and textbooks. I hope you've learned something. See you soon and goodbye.